Hello everyone. In this tutorial I'm going to explain how to use version control software. I would say it's necessary to use some sort of version control when you're making a video game. And I'm going to assume you have no idea about this and that you're probably one person or two people. You're going to be in a small team. So for that, especially if you're only one person, Dropbox will be enough. If you have two people or more, I would suggest creating a server to actually share the repository, but I will explain that later. Since you're new to all this, I'm going to recommend TortoiseHG. HG means mercury, the element, in the table of elements. Anyways, so yeah, you come here to tortoise.bitbucket.org or just Google TortoiseHG. I think if you Google mercurial, it will be in the top ones also. Never mind. So you download it, and when it's downloaded, you install it. So the most important things you can do with version control software is that if you screw up, if you delete a texture and you can't find it again, if you break something, in Unreal you break some blueprints and you don't know how you had it set it up before, you're trying your best and you're simply screwed, you can just go back in time and it will basically take your whole project to the previous version. You can of course do that for only one file at a time if you want. It works especially well for text files because it will actually tell you the differences. As you can see here, it tells you that you removed this line and you added this line. So for text files and source code, works pretty well. Anyways, I'm going to install it, and I already have it installed, so I don't know. Anyways, you would install it normally. Okay, yeah, I want to cancel because I already have it installed. So this is where our project is. Okay, this is the U project file. You should have one like this and something similar. Oh my god. And something similar to this. If you have the source code also, you will probably have another source folder, but that doesn't really matter. You can select everything anyways. So what you would do is what we want to do is actually put this whole folder as our project folder in a repository. So it's basically a time machine, and to do that, well, that's pretty simple. Create a repository here. Once you have TortoiseHG installed, everything works on the Explorer shell. So right click on the folder and here it is. No, sorry, don't clone it. You create a repository here, and this is actually the command line that will be used. The tortoise shows you always what it's going to be. Let's add this so we can see what it actually does in the end. So okay, so we go ahead and create it. So now this is the repository. These are files that are not being handled by Tortoise, but we actually want them to handle it. So it went through the folders and found that we have all these files and none of them are being handled by it. Okay, so we don't want that. And simply if we click here, we select everything, and I don't think this is, well, let me show you the other way. The other way is you select everything and you add the files. This means that Tortoise will handle all the files that you add here. So if, for example, you don't want to have your save data, which is a bit ridiculous here, for example the log, if you don't want to share the log, you can not include it, or once you have included it you can remove it. No, sorry, let's say you have removed it, you can forget the file. This means that you have your copy and the other person has their own copy, and you don't have to share that file, and it's generated by Unreal in this case. Okay, so there are lots of things you can do. So let's go ahead and add the files, and yeah, these are all the files that we're going to add. This color with the interrogation mark means that he's not handling it. So we just go ahead and add everything for now. Okay, Mercurial has created these files. You should ignore them. Basically it's a good idea, and all these files you should also ignore them. Okay, but this is actually where a copy will be, I believe. So okay, once you have added them to Mercurial, you have told Mercurial that you wanted to handle these files, you want to actually do your first commit. This will put the files in, actually will take some sort of snapshot of the state of these files, and this will be the first of such snapshots. So well, you also need a comment every time, basically, so you know what you did, why you did this. Every time you commit, you tell Mercurial what changes you have made and maybe the reason why, in case somebody else comes later and tries to see, well, like, why you did this change. So making comments is very useful, very highly recommended to go ahead and type all you want here, because then you can actually search for the comments later in the future. In this case, this is just an initial commit, so I will just commit. And commit actually simply saves a copy locally, you could say. So you can commit as often as you want. Oh no, sorry, still committing. So you can commit as often as you want, even if the project currently doesn't run or you screwed up somewhere. It doesn't matter, you can commit and continue from that work even if it doesn't compile or whatever. Okay, you commit often, commit as much as you want and as much as you can. And then what does this mean? Right now we basically have our files here taken care of by Mercurial. So for example, if I delete this map accidentally, oh no, what do I do? You go to Tortoise and you can revert files, revert changes. So it knows that the last commit, the last snapshot of this folder had this file, and you say, hey, I want to go back to that. So you revert, and here it is. And it will also, we don't have any history yet, but you can go to the revision history. It will tell you all the times this file has been changed and committed. So you can see the comments, so you can see that, oh, this was the time where I implemented such thing. This is probably where the map broke somewhere, and you can go back to it and what was it, revert to this revision. So you can go back to that, and all the changes you have made will the bad changes you have made won't matter at all. So this is the good things. Also, for example, like I said before, you can do visual differences. If let's say that I change this file, for example, I change this file, or Unreal changes this file. automatically for some reason, and I go here and I say I want to commit all my changes. It will tell me that this file has been modified, and I can go and say I don't want this change, so you revert it, or if you want it, then you can, of course, well, if you click on it, it will tell you the actual changes. So this line was taken out, this line was added. Okay, so it knows exactly what changes were made. It's pretty good. And here you say, well, let's save a commentary. Change default user settings and commit. But then let's say that we're not happy, so well, you can simply go here again, Tortoise, and revision history, and these are the two versions. Okay, so you can go back to this one again, save at revision, no, revert revision to revision 0. This is the index of this revision, and you reverted it, and it's false again. This is right, it was true before, right? I mean, the change I did. Yeah, I changed it to true, and now it's false again, and now I can commit again if I want to, and it will be in this new version, will be saved in this new version. So yeah, source control is pretty convenient. However, if you lose this folder right now, if I delete it, then we're screwed. There's no backup copy. Okay, it's not completely magical. This is where the changes are made, are saved. So yeah, it's not magical. So how do we solve this? Like I said, if you're one person, you can easily use Dropbox or any other cloud service, I guess. So here I already made a folder for Dropbox where we're going to have the backup. Okay, this is the part we're not going to work in this folder. This folder will only be the backup that will be synchronized to the cloud. So if we lose our stuff, we won't really lose it. Okay, so how do we do that? We actually clone the project in here. But okay, so the source file will be in where we have basically. Let me copy this. Will be here, and the destination file will be our Dropbox folder, our copy. And what you want to do, since you're not going to be working in this copy, you check this checkbox. So it means no update, which means that it will only have all the metadata here and not actually the data that you can work on. So basically it will save this .hg file, and that's it. So this is how we make a copy in Dropbox. If you're working alone, it's okay, but if you're not working alone, you should try to stop syncing the Dropbox folder, and if you're working with someone else using Dropbox, then you should communicate and tell the other person that you're going to commit, well, to push. I will talk about pushing later. And yeah, so that he doesn't do it at the same time. There can be conflicts apparently. It's apparently not common, but it can happen. And anyways, if you're using more than one, if you're programming this with more than one person, you should try to use a server, and a web server would work, and you have the files shared in there, and everyone can commit and change and do anything they want. So we have done this. So now oh sorry, actually want to copy this here, because now I will show you how to is how to push your changes. What does pushing mean? Well, there it's almost like committing, which means that it takes a snapshot, except that this one, let me go to the workbench, except that this one means that you're actually sharing it to everyone. So it means that these changes are kind of definitive instead of locally. So the commits, you can make commits when your code is broken, but when you push, you want those changes to be okay, to work, because that's where the other people will be taking the data from. You don't want them to not be able to run the code or anything. So the first thing you need to do here is tell Mercurial where your backup is, and it's in here. So save it as default, and here it is. Now you can easily go ahead and push and pull. Okay, push, pull would recover the changes made by other people, and push will push the changes that you made. All the commits that you made will come here as one push in the end, and this is what your other friends will see, or this is what is actually backed up in the Dropbox folder if you're one person. So, oh my god, no outgoing changes. Searching for changes, not outgoing changes. I messed up somewhere. I haven't committed yet. Or have I? I haven't pushed yet. No changes found. Well, I actually didn't do any changes in the end, because I set this to false and true, and then these two from true to false, so I guess there really are no changes, so that's why it doesn't show me anything. Let me make any change. Let's say that I have a blueprint effect smoke. I made a copy and I add this copy. This is important. I usually forget, but it's pretty important to add the files. If you want to rename files, use this tool, don't rename them yourselves. Okay, so what you add the files, and yeah, here it is. Then I will commit, and test is the text for the commit, and I'm going back to the workbench, and now there are actual changes, so I will push this, and now it did some changes. Yes, searching for changes, adding changes, manifest file changes, so it did change the files in the server in Dropbox. Now you would see Dropbox starting to sync because there have been changes to the files. And oh, by the way, to see this log window, it's here, show output log, or Control L to see that it's actually doing something, because if you don't have this, you're not sure if it's doing anything or not, except for this. But for example, if it's stuck somewhere, you're not going to know. And I think that's it. That's how you use source control. So yeah, if you screw up, you don't have to worry. You just go back to the changes, remember to commit often, and yeah, and that's it. Later, an advice would be to start checking out Git. It's better in many ways, but well, there are many people who will tell you that Mercurial is better, or SVN is better for other things, or Git is better for others. So yeah, this is just one of the ways you can do it, and it works, even if other ways are better. Ooh, wait, let me explain about branching a little bit. I'm not going to do branching now, but you can, will be here. No, once you save, I don't know where it is now. Branch default. Yes. You can save in a new branch if you're going to, say, experiment with a new feature that you are not sure it's a right feature. Like if you want to make a lot of changes to a lot of files, but you don't really know if you will end up with those changes in the end. So yeah, use a branch, and once you have made those changes, you can connect the branch back to the trunk, which is what they're called, branches and trunks, etc., like a tree. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I hope you use this, and I hope it saves your ass, because it will. And that's it. Thank you for watching.